Hey, good afternoon. We're here to announce today the arrest of a Rutherford High School student for bringing a weapon onto campus. I've got with me Captain Myron Guilford of our Community Services Division, who supervises our school resource deputy, our great partners, Superintendent Husfelt and School Board member Winston Chester, to discuss this serious situation and our zero tolerance for this type of activity. As we've talked time and time again about our partnership with the school district and both of our shared #1 priorities to keep kids safe in schools, and we've done so much towards that, but we continue to have issues with threats in schools. And in this situation, where a student at Rutherford actually brought a firearm onto campus, we began receiving information about this late yesterday afternoon and worked the investigation, and by this morning the student is in custody, charged with possession of a weapon on campus. I've got Captain Guilford here can describe the situation with that, but again, zero tolerance for that, no matter the circumstances. Bringing a gun on the school campus is something that we're going to take seriously, and students are going to be held accountable, going to go to jail for that. So we want to thank the students that provided information on this social media post that led to this. You know, when we talk about see something, say something, and this being a community effort to keep our schools safe, when a student or parent or citizen learns of something that may be a threat to our school or even crime in general in our community, we urge them to come forward, and we promise that we'll take that seriously and follow through on that. In this case, you know, I think we've averted a potential tragedy in our schools, and just want to thank Superintendent Husfelt and the school district for their partnerships, and let you say a few words.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate that. And I just want to reiterate what the Sheriff just said. We take these very seriously, and we want to thank the students that were involved in working with the school and the SRDs yesterday. And, you know, there'll be a lot more come out about this because of the investigation, but at no time did we ever have knowledge about a credible threat until early this morning. That's when all this happened. There were rumors and speculations about what was going to happen that the school was dealing with. And so I think this is a credit to the Sheriff's Department and to those people that work administration in the schools, that they work all these very seriously. They leave no stone unturned, and we just depend on them to continue to do that. We're going to do everything we can to make sure every student gets home safely every day, and also to make sure our schools stay safe. But we have to depend on the partnerships of the community, which mainly is the parents. And so parents, ironically, I just did a video earlier, it's going to be released later this week, about parents checking your children's backpack, continuously talk with them, find out what they're into, because we can't do this alone. We can't do it in isolation. So I'm going to introduce Captain Guilford, but I just want to say it's he and his team that really do the brunt of all this investigation. So we really appreciate their hard work. Okay, go.
Good afternoon. We're here today because we received some information yesterday. Administration at Rutherford High School received a tip from a student that there was possibly a young man on campus that did a social media post of having a gun and causing some threats. First thing this morning, we were able to locate that young man yesterday. We had all the facts weren't in yesterday. We got first thing this morning. He came in. He was met at his vehicle by the principal and Deputy Hare. He was talked to about the post, and as a result of him making the post and during the course of our investigation, we had learned that he had a gun, and the gun was in the vehicle that he had traveled to the school with a friend of his in his backpack, and he was subsequently charged with possession of a weapon on campus.
Mr. Chester,
I'm good. I mean,
sure.
Okay, I just want to reiterate what our superintendent, Mr. Husfelt, said. Parents, we need your help. When the kids come home, y'all fix a meal and sit around the table and talk and communicate with them, and just have that relationship with your kids and know what's going on. So we need your help in this.
Open it up for any questions you may have. Yes, ma'am.
So how do you guys plan to, moving forward, fight these types of problems in schools and make sure that schools are just safer for the kids?
Zero tolerance and aggressive investigations. Anytime that we are made aware of any type of a threat, and I think we've shown this time and time again, both with how we react to a threat situation, no matter how vague it may be, and how the school district reacts to it. We take every one of them seriously. Unfortunately, there have been a lot of students that have gone to jail over making threats because we've got zero tolerance. I can't guess which one's going to be the actual school shooter. We have to take every one of them seriously and hold them accountable. So we will continue aggressive investigation and zero tolerance for this type of activity.
And within the past month, has any other weapons been brought to any other schools within the district?
I don't have that information.
Just knives. We're not aware of any guns, but we collect knives almost weekly, it seems like.
Any schools in particular?
It happens everywhere. There's not a school that is immune to this. And if I can, I think this brings out a very good question that you're asking. We've had charter schools in this district with guns. We've had private schools that have had issues. You know what happened in Tennessee recently. That was a private Catholic school. There is not a school or place in this country right now that I think is immune to these kind of problems. It's not a school problem. It is a people heart problem. And unless the families, as already been shared here, unless the families do more work with their children at home, we're going to continue to have these problems. And we can't target one school or say it's at one school. It's not. It's everywhere. It's happening everywhere. And it's happening to very stable families, to unstable families, homeless kids, rich kids, white kids, black kids. There's not one little thing that you can use as identifier to find these children out. But the one thing it comes down to is it's lack of involvement of parents, most likely in the homes, not knowing what their children or students are doing.
And so were any arrests made as a result of these students bringing these knives to schools?
We deal with that. The knife policy is different because of the length of the knife. If it meets a certain threshold, I think it's 5 inches or more, then they are arrested. Usually it's under that, almost every time it's under that, and we have school policies that kick in. Usually that student's removed away from the school if they've had any kind of threat involved in it. Sometimes it's just a kid carrying a pocket knife. Did you ever carry a pocket knife to school? Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I did too. But you know, there's a difference between you having a little pocket knife in your school or you posting or telling someone you're going to use it on someone. And so we have to deal with that, and we do deal with that, and we're very careful about dealing with that. But there's no reason for anyone anytime to ever bring a gun to school, and you don't accidentally bring a gun to school. And so we're not going to tolerate that. I think the sheriff did a great job explaining that. We have zero tolerance for that. And if you think your child's in that or being involved in that, then you need to get very busy, because I can tell you this, a young person that has this on their record is probably going to have a very rough time in their life. I can just tell you that right now.
And is this the first weapon found on this campus this month?
Unless they had a pocket knife or something, I don't know of any other weapon. I mean, I'm unaware of any other weapon.
Okay.
But like I said, I got a picture yesterday of a pocket knife at a middle school that they sent me that they took off of a student. We you know, that's always been around. The little pocket knives have always been around. But of threats or anything of this magnitude that we're unaware of.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And obviously this is an ongoing investigation, but at this time, can you share any details of why this student may have had the gun on him, and are there any details on how he could have possibly had it in his possession?
So we're still working some issues on that. We actually have received some new information as we're walking in here on that, so we're still trying to make sure that we're being accurate on that. But our understanding is that the post was made in reference to a situation with an ex-girlfriend. There's a couple of different stories and theories going around on that. There's also a couple of possibilities of where the gun came from. Again, when we were walking in here, we got some new information. Bottom line, doesn't matter. Bottom line is he brought a gun on the school campus. He made a threat online, so he's been held accountable for that.
And Sheriff Ward, I know you work day in and day out doing everything you can to keep students safe in schools here, and obviously working with the other agencies and using your Bayrock resources is a huge thing. Can you kind of just talk about how the communication is a major key in all of this for you?
So I had a moment after Parkland that just really kind of shook me, and we've been through a lot here in the last 4 or 5 years. I've been sheriff coming up on almost 6, 7 years now. We've had a hurricane, active shooters, pandemic, other issues. Nothing has kept me awake more at night than the safety of our schools and the fear of a school shooting, and I know that that's shared by these gentlemen as well. And so we have really put our foot on the gas in this district with the full cooperation of Mr. Husfeldt and the school board to do some things that I think have made our schools safer. We've got the Guardian program. We train our deputies and work with other agencies and fire and EMS on how to respond to an active shooter situation. We've really invested a lot, and y'all covered this, our active shooter incident management, on how we all work together to manage one of these incidents if we have that in school. We've got our Hero 911 system that will immediately alert every law enforcement officer in the county if there's a shooting at the school, and protocols in place for how we respond to those type of situations, as well as a lot of investment by Mr. Husfeldt and the board in mental health resources, and a lot of legislation post-Parkland that dealt with mental health issues and threat assessment teams and things of that nature. So it is an absolute priority, and I'm proud of the progress we've made. We have made it a priority and put the resources and the training in place to make our schools safer.
And now that this student has been arrested, will you guys continue to do the investigation, or does it get turned over to the state?
So we'll continue the investigation, and the investigative package will be turned over to the state attorney's office and to work with them on the prosecution of the case.
No further questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.